What are some of those intriguing questions that really the field is trying to push for or trying to explore?
So I think that's a really good point. The point that you started with is probably where I will start and then dive in. There may be like three major areas that I think are super exciting, and there's a lot of scope for development currently in metabolism research and kind of those big questions or solutions to some of the big questions. The issue of the microbiome is a really good one. I think that's one of the things that everybody knows about and has heard something about. I think how people think about the microbiome maybe is not necessarily how scientists always think about it. This collection of organisms that can be on you, in you, and there's been a lot of work as to how those collection of microorganisms can actually change your metabolism. And I think there's a fairly good body of work that shows that it's something that can't be ignored. So I think a lot of studies that you see coming out now focusing on the microbiome also focus on, what's happening in the host and how is it also changing and altering metabolism through various molecular cues, either things that the microorganisms are doing or ways in which your body is responding to those microorganisms, how that changes your metabolism. So that's really one of those big areas. And I keep telling my students, I think within the next 15 to 20 years, I don't imagine that there are really going to be a lot of human studies and kind of deep investigations that can really ignore the microbiome any longer. Like I think it's a core part now of our understanding of human physiology and animal physiology more broadly. And I think we're going to see more and more of that coming into the research space. I think the second major thing I would want to talk about are tools used to identify some of these big questions. I think a field called metabolomics, which is like this ability to produce large data sets about things happening in metabolism, is a really exciting area. And those tools are what are going to help us break a lot of the big questions in the discipline. Metabolomics as a field, arguably, doctors would argue, has been around for a very long time. So when you go and you get a blood draw, a doctor will tell you, well, I mean, that's a metabolic test, right? They're measuring usually some kind of metabolite, or they can measure some kind of metabolite, and humans have been doing this for quite a while in medicine. But our ability to measure lots of those metabolites at the same time has been improving a lot over the last decade or two. And I think we've reached a point where we're becoming really skilled at doing that, like looking at lots of different metabolites all at the same time. And having that large amount of data is really giving us a very unique picture of biology. I think classically biology, as as I was just discussing, has kind of looked at one, two metabolites in, very distinct tests in very distinct ways, but never looking at the big picture. And I think everybody could appreciate this kind of idea about big data. And big data is, a thing now. I think even the average layperson has heard something